Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is Eric from eGetTech. So to follow up on my Red Magic 7 unboxing video, I'm going to be doing a quick Antutu Benchmark, 3DMARK, and a Geekbench 5 benchmark test of some of the most powerful smartphones out on the market right now. Starting from the left, I've got the Red Magic 6 Pro with the Snapdragon 888, the Red Magic 7 Transparent Edition with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 chip, the Red Magic 6S Pro also in the transparent version, and this one has the Snapdragon 888 Plus, and I've got Apple's latest and greatest, the iPhone 13 Pro Max. The iPhone 13 Pro Max has the latest A15 Bionic chip developed by Apple, and in terms of the RAM and storage, all the three Red Magic phones have 12GB of RAM and 256GB of UFS storage. While in the case of the iPhone 13 Pro Max, it has 6GB of RAM and 256GB of storage. And in terms of the refresh rates, 165Hz on all three of the Red Magic phones, and for the first time, Apple has introduced a high refresh rate on their Apple device, and this iPhone 13 Pro Max has a 120Hz refresh rate. So with the specs out of the way, let's go ahead and get this benchmark started. And of course, what I'm going to be doing before I start the test is I'm going to be elevating all of these phones so their backs are not flat against the table, because in the case of the Red Magic 7, it has an additional intake vent on the back, so if I put it flat on the table, then this is going to get blocked. So I definitely want to see how well the new cooling system will perform in cooling this phone. Alright guys, so all the phones are ready. There is a gap on the back of each phone, so it will allow the heat generated from the back of the phones to dissipate better. And of course, all these Red Magic phones have their own dedicated game center. And the only one that doesn't have it is the iPhone 13 Pro Max. So let's turn on Game Center on each of these phones. And let's go ahead and launch Antutu Benchmark real quick. Alright, so on all the three Red Magic phones, I've got performance set at maximum. So the first test I'm going to be running on these four phones is Antutu Benchmark version 9. So let's go ahead and see which of these phones will score the highest. Alright guys, so first test is done. The Antutu Benchmark test results are displayed on screen, and the Red Magic 7 with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 chip actually ran away with this test guys. So it actually scored a whopping 1,033,708. In second place, we've got the Red Magic 6 Pro with the Snapdragon 888 with a score of 864,350. In third place, the Red Magic 6S Pro with 849,861. And pretty surprising here guys, the iPhone 13 Pro Max scored a pretty low 819,862. So it's pretty much the Red Magic 7 that actually scored the highest in all the categories. So it won in the CPU, it won the GPU score, it also had the highest memory score and the highest user experience score at 176,530. Now in terms of temperature guys, happy to say that they stayed pretty cool all throughout because of that internal fan. So on the Snapdragon 888 carrying Red Magic 6 Pro, it hit a maximum of 39 degrees. On the Red Magic 7, it hit 39.3, and on the Red Magic 6S Pro, it hit 39.4. So not too much of a difference. And battery went down pretty much all at the same rate, 5% here, 6% on these two other phones. Unfortunately, for the iOS version of Antutu Benchmark, it doesn't show you any other information aside from the score after running the test. So you don't get the temperature that the phone is running, and you don't get to see how much battery is lost during that test. So with this surprising Antutu Benchmark test, let's give the phone some time to cool down, and then we'll run the 3DMARK test. So all the fans are working double time guys. So I'm going to be running the 3DMARK Wildlife Extreme Stress Test. So this is going to be a 20-minute test, and it's going to be fully testing the cooling capacity or the cooling performance of all of these phones, and it's going to let us know by how many percent the performance gets dialed down once the phone starts thermal throttling. So starting the test in 3, 2, 1. Alright guys, so the 3DMARK Wildlife Extreme Stress Test is done. Let's see the scores. So in terms of the best loop score, it's actually the iPhone 13 Pro Max that won this one. It had a score of 3079. In second place, we've got the Red Magic 7 with 2602, followed by the Red Magic 6S Pro 1552, and in last place is the Red Magic 6 Pro with 1543. But in terms of the stability guys, it's still the Red Magic 6 Pro that wins this one because it had a stability of 98.8%. So that's basically no throttling at all even while running that 20-minute test. On the Red Magic 7 with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 chip, it had a stability of 92.2, which is good enough for second place. So there is a bit of thermal throttling, but it's not too extreme. Third place, we've got the Red Magic 6S Pro with a Snapdragon 888 Plus with a stability of 88.9%. Doing really badly is the iPhone 13 Pro Max with a stability of just 69.6. So you can see from the graph, it started out well, but then the performance dropped because it started generating a lot of heat and it stayed pretty low all throughout. Now let's go ahead and check the temperature here guys. So I'm not sure if we can see temperature readings on this phone. Yeah, no temperature reading again on the iPhone 13 Pro Max, but it does show how much battery it lost and what FPS it's actually getting during the test. So battery went down from 92 to 75 on the Red Magic 6 Pro. Temperature hit a pretty hot 51 degrees guys, and the frame rate ranged from 7 to 13. On the Red Magic 7, the battery went down from 92 to 70 and temperature went as high as 53 degrees. So it did get pretty hot guys. The frame rates were a bit better, it does have a more powerful chip. It went from 11 to 20. And on the Red Magic 6S Pro, it went from 91 to 71%. So the hottest phone among these four is actually the Red Magic 6S Pro. It hit a maximum of 54 degrees Celsius and the frame rate ranged from 6 to 13. Now on the iPhone 13 Pro Max, the battery went down from 82 to 73 and the frame rates ranged from 9 to 27. So let's exit out of this and let's let the phones cool down again. And then we'll launch one final test, which is Geekbench 5. Alright guys, so phones are pretty cool now, pretty cold to the touch. So I'll be able to run my third and last test, which is Geekbench 5. So let me launch it on all the phones. So we'll be running the CPU benchmark test first. So let's run the test in 3, 2, 1. Alright guys, so here are the results, and as expected, the iPhone 13 Pro Max with the A15 Bionic chip scored the best single core score with 1744. Multi-core score is also the best at 4740. So we all know how powerful that chip is, but the only downside is once the phone starts to get hot, then it really starts dialing down the performance. In second place, as expected, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 chip did pretty well. Single core score of 1247, multi-core score 3747. In third place in terms of the single core score is the Snapdragon 888 Plus carrying Red Magic 6S Pro with a single core score of 980. The multi-core score is a respectable 3639. The Red Magic 6 Pro didn't lag too far behind. It scored a single core score of 978 and a multi-core score of 3685. So running the compute test now in 3, 2, 1. in terms of the compute score, it's not really comparable because on the Android version, it runs OpenCL, and on the iOS version, it runs Metal. So this score shouldn't be directly compared between the two versions, but you can see that it did score pretty high. The iPhone 13 Pro Max hit 14,258. On the Android side of things, the Red Magic 7 still wins this one with a very impressive score of 6,224. So second place is surprised because the Snapdragon 888 actually scored a bit higher than the Snapdragon 888 Plus, 4,760 here and 4,685 here. So these are the scores that I'm getting on my third and final test between these three powerful phones. Of course guys, benchmarks only tell half of the story. Stay tuned to the channel and I'm going to be doing real life gaming tests with the Red Magic 7 that carries the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 chip. And of course I'm going to be comparing it with last year's model, the Red Magic 6S Pro and the Red Magic 6 Pro, and also the iPhone 13 Pro Max, which is a very powerful phone as well. So make sure you guys have turned on your notification so you'll be the first to know once that video is up. Now before I end the video, here are some graphs of the results that I've gotten running these three benchmark tests. So I'll go ahead and wrap up this video guys. Let me know what scores you're getting on these same benchmarks on your phones and I would love to discuss it on the comment section down below. But until then, a sub would be massively appreciated. Please like and subscribe, hit that bell icon notification, and see you all in my next one.